Greetings, listeners. Welcome to Barbarian Loners Podcast. In this podcast, we'll discuss the grief of losing our beloved ones. The ones we care about, even the ones we just shared good memories with. Sometimes there comes a certain point in your life when you realize you have to face some facts and you just gotta face the music. These facts can fold as leaving your family and living abroad in another country, starting a whole new life, or it can be simple. It can be saying your very last goodbyes to your best friend. Anyway, I'd like to start with a memory from a good friend of mine who immigrated to Germany a few years ago. Shout out to him if he's listening. This friend of mine was an absolute loner. You know, a nerd, quiescent kind of guy. Always in his room, studying, making crazy stuff on his little computer, talking about stuff which no one has any clue about. Or, you know, the deal with nerds, they actually live in another dimension. That time, no one would have thought that this mommy's boy could make it out of the country and start living on his own. On a regular Friday, when I was at his house, he accidentally told me that he's not gonna be here for long. I was shocked, but in the meantime, I was happy for him. The very first thing that crossed my mind was to ask him how he's gonna deal with the loneliness and all those difficulties that an immigrant will face. Just to let you know, I'm quoting his words because he actually said something to me that caved into my mind for a very long time. So, I'm quoting his words here. I know that I'm gonna go through hell. I am also aware that it takes vicious flames of hell to create a keen sword. In that moment, I was thinking to myself that this fella ain't playing no more. He's out to get it. He has set his heart on it, so he's out to get it, and that's the only way. 6 years later, he's out there in Germany, leading a fantastic existence. If you're listening to this, stay up, brother. You made me absolutely proud. But the question is this: how do we overcome that feeling of pain and sorrow when moving into a new chapter of life? Because every new chapter of your life costs a hardship, a difficulty. Well, my genuine and also simple advice would be, when you lose someone, it has two meanings. Either are you setting foot into a new chapter of life, or the universe is trying to knock some sense into you by taking away the people whom you adore. That's it, you know. It just has this meaning of setting foot into a new chapter of life. Anyway, first you might think that these are gibberish contents and perspectives of life, but nobody, trust me, nobody in their right mind would not get their lives in order when they realize that every single person around them are forging ahead and they're still stuck in the shithole they used to be. Take me, for example. When that fella emigrated and I was still watching TV on weekends and playing stupid video games, it hit me like a bullet in the chest. I was left behind in a loop of imaginary happiness. I couldn't do anything. I was just like a robot. I thought, how can I escape? How can I take control of my life? And the answer was simple. I gotta get up and decide to bring discipline into my life. For most of us, the answer is right under our nose. We know that sometimes there is no easy way to get out. There is just hardship and sacrifice. But we choose that easy. We might think that there is an easy way, but there isn't. But however, we choose to try to find an easy way, when you just have to go through hell and become an absolute loner who has tried his best at becoming the best version of himself. So, the problem with humanity is it's always looking for an easy way to go through hard paths, which I have explained, but it may be beneficial sometimes, thinking for a creative path to go down, but that can't be the solution to everything, which is why nowadays the Europeans and the first world are changing genders to evade responsibilities. It may sound a bit harsh, and I may get, some critical comments on this, but let's not even get started on that. The best possible way to defeat and move on from this is to realize that by crying and feeling depressed, not only are you depriving them from leading a better existence, but also you are reflecting a sense of remorse on them. Remember, the only people left on this planet for them are you guys, their supporters, the people whom they trust, the people who they can rely on. And the best road to go down is to just suck it up and don't act on your emotions, because it's just a matter of time before you get used to living without them. It may sound a bit harsh, get used to living without the people we loved, get used to live without the people we adored. I know it may sound a bit harsh, but it's just the nature of humanity. We get accustomed to hardships and the way to deal with them. It's just brain, it's just wired into our brains. It's just coded into our brains to survive through hardships. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to survive thousands of years ago. Anyway, instead, what you should be doing is striving to gain the better version of yourself. Imagine me nagging and gasping like a child, because what? He's leaving? He's leaving to make a better version of himself. So should I. Remember, some people walk out of our lives so that we can learn how to live without them. Your parents, relatives, friends are not always gonna be there to look after you and guide you to the right direction. Maybe your endurance is being tested, and you may think, why is that? Well, my answer is, you have to deserve what you're about to receive. Otherwise, even the junkies would be millionaires and billionaires, super successful people across the globe. Although, I know that it is arguable that even the junkies were once a respected and loved member of a caring family. But it's choices which has transformed them to this susceptible version of themselves. Anyway, have you ever thought about the reason we say goodbyes? Because, the whole concept of this podcast is saying goodbyes. We know it for a fact that the person is gonna leave anyway. So what's the point in telling someone something that they don't give a solitary damn about? Well, you may think that it's because of giving our regards to them, which demonstrates a sign of respect. And I believe that it's something nastier than that. Why the word nasty? We're practically lying to ourselves in order to find a remedy for our grief and sorrow. Remember, I'm not trying to imply the fact that you must not feel for anyone and completely close your heart to their desperation so that you can become an absolutely cold-hearted individual, a person who does not give a damn about anyone. He's, I don't know, what do you guys call it? A stoic person, yeah. Which often happens to people under the fierce pressure of realizing the reality of our existence. Instead, I'm attempting to knock some sense into you in regards to the fact that losing your beloved ones is a part of life, and there's almost nothing you can do about it. I mean, except to make them proud And if you don't make them proud, you just owe them a lifetime of wasting your life. To some of you, I may sound like one of those peculiar, motivated, successful individuals who's trying to make a bunch of money out of his gibberish nonsense, which he doesn't even believe in. Conversely, I'm a motivated, ordinary teenager who possesses an inquisitive mindset towards nearly anything which he believes in. Back to our topic. You may have realized that the only way to overcome this feeling is to make them realize that they're making the right decision, even though it may be harsh to fathom and deal with. Afterwards, you must do what you know you have to do. Therefore, you'll end up making the right decisions, which inevitably leads to shaping a better version of yourself. Remember, if you've come this far and realized our Merely Nothing podcast have knocked some sense into you, don't forget to batter that subscribe and like button. So, see you on the next podcast. Stay solid.
A letter to someone I knew. Once I read in somewhere that being in love with someone and being right for someone aren't the same thing. The same applies to everything in life. You will fall in and out of love with different places, sunsets, colors, laughs, voices, books, movies, music, and you will realize that some loves stay for a lifetime and some stay for a little while. Some places are your forever home and some are temporary. Some voices are constant and some will echo in your heart forever. Both of these are real. Both of these are love, and all of this is life. But you completed this idea in a different way. To be honest, for me, you were like a goddess. Sometimes I thought, I wish I could be your tear, that I could burn in your eyes, live on your cheeks, and die on your lips. And now to me, you're nothing but an old grief. It's kind of funny because someday you were the only reason for me to breathe. You know what? I think what we had was like a fall leaf. Born in green, live in orange, and died in brown, with the difference that we died in black. But at the end, I should say, thank you, because after all, you taught me a life hack that I can never make anyone stay or come.